welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is Reckless Zanande Boetis.
Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
I laughed.
I love how she just blasts it. Like, it's so great.
Oh, what a great scene, too. It's a pitch perfect song, too. I mean, it's so on the nose, it goes past kind of obvious and towards just beautiful. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I've been laughing. Like, the quote, there's a scene where Alexandra Daddario, her character's name is Alexis, and she's talking to her dad, John Henry Butler, played by Johnny Knoxville. Spoilers, but I do like when he's like, what did we call you when you were younger? Hey, that's pretty good, Johnny Knoxville. And she's like, Reckless Alexis. And that just made me laugh. Like, it doesn't quite rhyme, but I just love the Reckless Alexis. She has her face, busted open from her brawl with Kean, or from Mark. I guess Kean Johnson's the character. But I just love the Reckless Alexis. It's just it's just such a random funny bit in this film. And in this, 90-minute movie, which is probably the greatest thing on whenever we come across these short movies, Anandi, it's beautiful.
We love it, right? That's our thing, Mark. Like, give us a 90s movie, we'll talk about it, because we probably love it.
And you and I, we've been tackling some really heavy films that are wonderful. I'm not saying they're bad, but like Dr. Sleep. And then we talked Taco. Yeah, we did The Dark and the Wicked. We've just had some pretty legit movies that we've talked about. And that's why this movie's such a blast. Yes.
Yeah.
People do get stabbed and murdered in this movie. People's hair gets lit on fire. There are some ritualistic things. There's a lot of profanity. There's I think the director said they dropped the F-bomb over 140 times. Because that's what happens when you allow actors to improv. They just swear. But it's still so much fun. This is a fun movie. And it's a fun movie with really good performers in it. I like all the actors. I think all of them nail their parts. You like the kids. The more you watch it, I think I like them more. It's just I keep saying it, but it's a fun movie. We summon the funness, oh brother.
We summon the funness. I love it. Yeah, that's exactly. And I mean, there's some good humor in it too. You've got these kids that, we're going to get into spoilers because it will be impossible to talk about the movie otherwise. Mm-hmm. But these three girls, they're supposedly these big, religious kids, but wow, the blasphemy they throw around. Yeah. It's these little jokes, and it's there, but it's not obvious, but it's there. And that end scene with her and her dad, with Alexis and the pastor,
John Henry Butler.
I mean, you said so well. That was actually so over the top hysterical, with the reckless Alexis and just everything. It actually made it more funny, and I think that's what I loved about this movie, because it didn't take itself too seriously. It didn't slap us over the head with messaging and stuff. I also love at the beginning, especially rewatching it. So now, because listen, the first time we saw this, I'm sure you probably will agree with me that, we knew, okay, these girls, there's all this ritual thing, murders happening, satanic ritual murders and stuff. And we immediately knew these girls were up to no good. We knew, that wasn't a twist for us. We knew. But then even still, because there are little twists as it goes. Oh, okay, she's actually the daughter of the pastor. La, 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 la. But yeah, still in the beginning where the guys, drive past him and they throw out the shake thing. And at one point, I think it was Alexis or someone that's I don't understand what's wrong with people. And it's such a sincere line. But then at the end of the movie, it's what's wrong with you? And I love that little call out to self type of vibes that happened in the movie with the characters. That opening scene with the girls in the car as well. Oh my God. What's that one line? Makeup is like war paint.
Yeah. That's a great line, isn't it?
Oh, it's so, I enjoyed this movie so much. There were some very cool lines. It was just fun. I also love it that, the first shots, we've got it's Indiana, 1988. So it's an 80s movie, but they never went for the whole 80s cinematography thing that we see all the time these days. It felt so modern, and I really, really like that. I think we should actually filmmakers in general take notes of how you can actually do that. It doesn't mean because it's set in the 80s you have to have this whole 80s look to it.
Beat you over the head, posters everywhere, music everywhere, shirts everywhere.
The funny 80 filters that they use, the cinematographers, like we don't need that. It can like because I love the whole thing that it felt so modern. I thought that was pretty cool.
You know, there are movies that are in the 70s, but they just use an orange tint to let you show that it's the 70s because people assume orange with the 70s. It's
like, was there no other color in the 70s?
Yeah, it's just orange like filters all over the place. But that's really neat what you said. And yes, this does take place in the 80s during the Satanic Panic era. I think, which I like, but they don't even lean that heavily into that. They just, it's, okay, this is going on. They don't even say it that much in this film, which I like. And another thing about this movie, it could have really leaned into heavily into cults or abuse or manipulation or children who are products of abuse or, becoming part of a cult. This could have been a mean movie. But instead, it's Alexis, Val, and Beverly trying to kill Mark, Kovacs, and Ivan. Well, or killing them. And it's I just like that they've never killed anybody in their lives. And then they're hunting down these two people, and everyone's bad at everything here. It's
so bad.
And you know what I love too is, so I was a bouncer in a bar for years, and I always bring this up on the podcast, and I know maybe it gets annoying, who cares? But whenever I saw people fight, you see these big, like burly, or, women or men. I saw tons of brawls, doesn't matter who. But everyone's swaggering. Everyone has this big swagger. But when fights break out, they're the ugliest thing you could possibly see, Zanandi. I mean, it just looks like people windmilling. People windmilling, wrestling, getting tired, pulling on shirts, going for eye gouges, just missing, just people. So, they're all burly. Like, in a fight, I would do a triple kick and then land this. But then when they do fight, they're tired in 20 seconds and then they puke outside. So when you watch these movies, and a lot of people say, oh, I would do that or I would do that. I like that this movie is, my cat just meowed. I like in this movie that I'm keeping that in too because I love hanging out with my cat. But yeah, no one knows what they're doing. They're just, I like how ugly it is, but it's still silly. Everyone's plans are bad. I mean, people lock themselves in rooms. Like, people are stuck. Like, it's just a guy yells at a person with a knife and then gets killed. Like, I have a question. If Ivan went hard at Alexis when they drug them, so they bring these three rockers back from a concert.
He like pushed the buttons completely because he was saying all the right stuff.
So these three girls go to a rock concert, which they tried to do their best. This documentary, Heavy Metal Parking Lot, before a Judas Priest concert. It's a documentary I really want to watch. So they tried to recreate that. They meet three guys. They bring them back to their mansion. They drug them, tie them up. They're going to do a fake ritualistic murder so that everyone thinks there's a satanic panic. So more people go to the church, which really helps out John Henry Butler, Johnny Knoxville, who is just buying mansions and getting rich in the process. So he's having his Daughters of the Light, I believe, Daughters of the Dawn, murder people to create a satanic panic so more people go to Christianity. But I'm lost. Oh, no, but then Ivan just starts going hard at Alexis. Would they have murdered those kids? Like, would they have gone through with it?
Yeah, I think they would have, because like Alexis and Val were pretty like blood hungry at that point. I mean, because at that point they already like drugged the guys.
Yeah, there's no going back.
And they were showing no remorse. Beverly was the only one that was like, because I love that too, because like at the heavy metal concert in the parking lot before the show, like they were talking about metal bands and what was your first show and whatever. And it was clear there that Alexis, she claims to be like this like fan of heavy metal or whatever, but she couldn't answer like what was her first concert.
The Scorpions,
she didn't know that Randy Rhoads died in a plane crash. Like she didn't know anything, and like it was subtle, but it was there. Like so, it was like, what's this now? Where Beverly, she was like, she's really into like her metal. Like even back at the house, she was still talking to the guys before pre-drugging. She was talking to the guys about like metal and rock and stuff.
Yeah, Metallica and Megadeth.
I think for her it was like, this is actually my people, you know? Not the cold people. This is actually my people. So, I mean, because she was the only one that like was starting to like, oh, this is wrong. I can't kill them. Well, no, I think those other two, no, they were pretty ready to do it. Like, and they didn't really flinch much. Like when Alexis did her first kill, they were both like staring in wonder at it, like real freaking psychopaths. So
yeah, Maddie was very happy.
Yeah, I mean, Ivan, Ivan didn't help himself by totally going off, but I mean, that was also a natural reaction. And I love it about this movie because there's a lot of natural things happening. Like you say, how they're so bad at this because they've never done it. Of course, they'll be bad at it. Like they're being pretty dumb about it anyways. But there's also like a satirical vibe to this movie. That's the fun part. That's where the fun comes in. Like, because you've got these like heavy elements really. Like it is there, especially in the lines. Like in the end where the preacher is also like, how many more children must die in Satan's name? Just that line. I thought that was such a good line for this movie specifically because it just summed up the absurdity of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like these little things that they say, which that's why I say like it's got a bit of a satiric feel to it. But then, yeah, just seeing how it all like this is my favorite fake satanic ritual gone wrong movie.
Yeah, oh, easily, yeah. Number one for sure.
Number one.
But I do think you're right. There's enough small things in here when Maddie says, "Hey, I flattened your tires. You can't drive away," and then when Kovacs gets stabbed in his arm. She probably nicked an artery, so he can't move. So then Mark is sort of stuck there. Mark's just not gonna leave Kovacs, and he can't drag him out because that'll probably lead to death. So there's enough tiny things in this movie that just make you understand all the choices just a little bit. They just give you enough to be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And even what Val in the beginning, Val makes a comment about her dad, and Alexis goes, oh, we're not going there again. So then that shows Val came from somewhere that they never want to get into more with that throwaway line. And then Beverly, she's like, I don't drink anymore. But she's a teenager, which means maybe she did drink. And then when they all take the Jägermeister, Val and Alexis react to it like it's the worst thing they've ever had. Like and that's only Jägermeister. So I like the little moments. They explain more of the characters just watching them. I think this is a pretty rich film that I think you can miss some of this stuff if you're not paying attention.
Absolutely, because the teenagers are teenagers and they make them teenagers and it's so cool. It's like, and like you say, like the whole like backstories, like when they're doing their Never Have I Ever game and like Bev is like, yeah, I shoplifted. Like, what did you shoplift? Food. I shoplifted food. Mm-hmm. So of it there as well. So you've got like, you've got Val and Beverly that you know about that by that point. Okay, they come from like troubled childhoods and stuff, like things weren't easy. And then Alexis is like the character that kind of unravels up till the end, where you really see how bad she's had it with that crazy dad of hers that literally wants to kill her in the end. Holy crap.
He set her up because she's reckless.
He set her up and then he literally freaking like starts strangling her. Because I'm like, was he like, did he plan to come there anyway? Because the stepmom phoned him and then he came and he was like, oh, you messed this up. So I'm like, so was it the plan to kill her? That wasn't the plan, right? The plan was to set her up, but not the killing.
I think, he just wanted to set her up. And then he had to go there and take care of things because then they had cops dead and they had the stepmom dead with her coke buggers. And
so that's like killing his kid was plan B, which is like just insane.
Yeah, and he treated her
he's
so
such
bad.
A bad guy.
Yeah.
He's such a terrible guy in this movie. Like he's like, over the top bad villainy. And he does pretty well. Good job, Knoxville.
I love Knox. So this movie shot in 16 days. And he was only there for 1 day. And he has a lot of moments in this film for a 1 day shoot. And Daddario said that he was the number one person he's ever worked with in regards to safety. When he was choking her, he was really concerned, and she said no one had ever looked after her on the set like that before. Which I think is pretty cool of Knoxville, that everyone loved him on there. But I mean, he's done Jackass. I think he knows how to control his body, and he's been hurt, so he doesn't want to hurt other people.
Combats and all of that. Yeah, exactly.
But I like when he comes in the house and just drinks a beer or cola and has a cookie. It's just a weird. Sometimes I feel like those moments are too precious. But I feel like John Henry Butler just was sitting there formulating a plan in his brain, thinking about what he's going to do, listening to the chaos, and then moving forward with his plan. I thought that was pretty neat how they added that little scene in there of him just eating a cookie and just sort of thinking. But he does have that menace to him. I mean, look, like he does have that good kind of pastor mania. I mean, anybody who starts Daughters of the Dawn, I feel like there's going to be trouble eventually, right? And then people are already onto him, which I thought was interesting. So I guess people were onto him, so then he wanted to frame his daughter.